Trump claims his arrest is imminent and calls for protests, echoing January 6th. Yeah, how you feeling about the potential indictment?
Well, I think that that's pretty likely to happen.
Not likelihood of happening. What does it mean for our democracy? Whew.
What do you think? Wait, I'll answer, but I'm just curious.
I think it's really, really, really scary. I'm not sure. Not to say that he didn't earn it, right? Like, I mean, if he committed the crime, he committed a crime. But like that's a really scary area to start to get involved in as the United States of America, right? Like, oh, this guy might have won, an election in the United States, but he was in jail, right? That whole proposition. There's so much baggage with that, It
feels a little banana republic-y.
Yes.
And that's the kind of stuff that these failed democracies and failed states do, which is lock up political opponents.
And even not even so much that like it is a banana republic, but just that there's the perception of a banana republic.
Are you more concerned with the optics of it, or
I'm
procedural?
Only concerned with the optics of it. Okay. Because if he did it, then f him, right?
Are you more concerned with the fact that he could be indicted, or that he would never be indicted?
Both would be pretty bad, but I'm worried that like he gets indicted and then it's like it becomes such like fodder for Republicans.
But do you think this is serious enough for you to rise to the level of worth doing?
My understanding is that he lied about payments to Cohen, where he paid him, I think it was $30,000 a month, to compensate him for bribing Stormy Daniels. I think she's unnamed right now, but everybody knows it's Stormy Daniels. He bribed her as hush money for an affair that he had. And Trump, when he compensated Cohen with, I think it was campaign funds, he lied about why he was compensating him, I think.
And so the only problem would be the way that the payment was made and what its purpose was.
Correct. Yeah.
Do you think that that's serious enough to get him indicted on a felony, the former president?
I mean, if he's breaking the law, he's breaking the law, right? Especially related to like campaign or business related stuff. Like, I think it's in the wheelhouse of like his job as a politician, right?
I'm concerned about what you're concerned about, which is that there'll be a sense of illegitimacy if this case does not stick and if it's not rock solid. Because before it was looking like the Manhattan DA's office wasn't going to prosecute this particular thing. And for whatever reason, now they're doing it. Maybe because they got new evidence or something.
Here's like an interesting thing from a prosecutor point of view. Do they need to be thinking more politically when it comes to doing these charges? Because I imagine you probably find a big division in some of these places where they're like, my job is to do legal stuff and politics, whereas for other people, I'm sure that they're right. Like this was like the Comey dilemma, right? Like, okay, well, maybe your job is to have a greater responsibility too. But then also, it's like, is there like a greater threshold of evidence? Because now, if you start to consider that politically, you've actually created the world where wealthy people live by different rules, right? Like if you were Joe Schmo, you'd be in jail for 6 months while we investigate it. But since you're really famous on the internet, we're going to give you a bit more leeway to make sure we're extra safe about how we do things. Is that okay?
It cannot possibly be the case that when you're a prosecutor looking into the former president or someone else of importance, that plays no consideration in how you proceed with the case or how you think about the case.
We're looking at it's like a consequential. We're trying to figure out like, okay, well, what's so bad that it has to be charged versus like what's like maybe we should hold off on this. That's a really hard thing.
What hits that threshold for you? What would be justification to charge Trump right before the election, let's say?
I feel like it's one of those, like the Supreme Court thing, like I'll know it when I see it. I feel like it's just one of those, you gotta have to feel it. Like I said, for like a speeding ticket, probably not. For any sort of
driving.
Yeah, that's a harder one. What if it's like drunk drive? Because even what if it's drunk driving where like he gets pulled over, he blows like right at the limit and it's like whatever, versus what if it's a drunk driver where he's pulled over because of like fucking willful reckless endangerment and they're like, holy shit, and he's like totally wasted, right? But I don't even like, and I'm sure there's a lot of prosecutors or people in the system that would agree, like it probably doesn't feel good to ever think about this. You don't ever want to be thinking about like what are the political consequences of pursuing this. Yeah, I mean, because like for the validity of your institution, maybe that's like the most important thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, I mean, Alvin Bragg is about to have what I think, because I think what's going to happen is that he is going to get indicted by a grand jury. He's about to have the entire world looking at him. This has never happened before. If you have some stuff like the Lisa Page, Peter Strzok stuff going on in the office.
Oh yeah, like
that
just
entire
one leak.
Office
and everybody's cell phones are going to be looked at. Every reporter is going to be looking for fucking leaks. Everybody, like you said, with a magnifying glass, every single thing is going to be analyzed so hard.
The Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, has said that he's interested in investigating the investigators and looking into and charges haven't even been filed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because we
don't
technically don't even know. It looks like it, but we technically don't even know if it's going to happen right now.
This is uncharted. We don't know what's going to happen in response to this. And think about what do you think that the Trump people in the right wing they're going to abandon Trump because of this? Red pill people, the Sneakos. What's this guy?
No. I don't think Trump could do anything at this point to dissuade his, unless he turns his back on like the populist stuff. Yeah, as long as he maintains like the whole Matrix fucking the deep state shit, I don't think anybody would ever pull away from him.
If Trump is elected president and he has this indictment and the, let's say, one or two other indictments related to one of the federal investigations and maybe even the Georgia one, should those criminal actions proceed when he assumes the office?
I don't know. Wasn't that untested legal ground that we weren't sure if can you investigate a sitting president for like a crime? I don't know what the answer to that is.
The current opinion of the OLC is that a sitting president cannot be federally indicted. There is no consensus though on state indictments, and this would be post-indictment activities.
Yeah, so this is why I heard, obviously these are all just like memes, but that was why people were saying that Trump was really scared of losing the election, was because New York could go after him or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
What happens if he's in jail? Does the Constitution say that he has to be let out? I mean, he can't be president and be in a correctional facility, can he?
I have no idea, dude. If he goes to jail, does the Secret Service go with him?
I think they would. This is so messed up.
Yeah.
And we haven't had to face this for so long, I think, because of norms. I think we talk about this all the time, that so much of our...
Yeah, because usually people that are to be president aren't doing these types of stupid fucking crimes.
He's a resident of Florida. I don't actually know what the law is about felons voting in Florida, but like, is there a world in which Trump could be a convicted felon and not allowed to vote
in the state that he resides? Yeah.
And he's president?
How crazy that, like, because isn't there always like a picture or like video of like the president voting for themselves with their family or whatever?
Yeah,
Imagine if like Trump misses that photo op because he's fucking not legally allowed to vote.
This is the bed that Republicans have made. And if you were to give me a bet right now, and I had to bet $1 million on who was going to win this nomination, indictment or no indictment, my vote's Trump every single time.
You really think he's winning over DeSantis still?
Yes.
Huh. Why is that?
I think DeSantis has a real shot, but if you were to be honest with yourself, Destiny, right now, $1 million, you have to bet on one person to be the Republican nominee. Who are you putting that money on?
I feel like DeSantis would do it right now, but I'm not sure. I could be wrong. Trump, I think, is still winning in the polls, but I don't know nationally. I feel like DeSantis could do a lot on the campaign trail that he hasn't had the chance to yet, right? People get a little bit of him in like the news and everything, but he hasn't really gotten to like flex his political chops like on a presidential campaign trail like Trump did. So it might be the case that when more of like Republican America is more broadly exposed to him, they get a more favorable opinion of him, and then that becomes something. Or maybe not, I don't know. But that's just, I'm not sure.
In which case, I think the Republicans are fucked.
Yeah, no, I think no matter what, the Republicans are fucked right now because you have because Trump's fan base represents a significant part of the Republican Party, right? They're totally 100%. Fucked. Yeah,
and Trump's going to eviscerate DeSantis, or we're going to try to.
Yeah, of course, he already put Meatball Ron and all. Like, yeah, he's already.
It's not going to be like one of those things. It's going to be like the Bernie supporters who couldn't bring themselves to support Clinton.
Yeah. But they were such a minority of the Republican.
They're such a minority, right?
Of the Democratic Party.
But think about how, for Trump, there are, I think, what do you think, 20% of Republican voters at least who only want Trump and will do whatever Trump says.
I think that number is way higher, yeah.
Or let's say that for whatever reason Biden can't run.
Yeah.
The worst possible scenario would be, I think it intensifies the danger if Trump gets in office.
What do you mean it intensifies the danger?
The indictments. Because I think that will absolutely unhinge Trump in every conceivable way. And that the next 4 years, I don't even know if we'll have a country anymore.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, we need to get over this. We need to pass this kidney stone that is Donald Trump.